This is coverage you can count on. WGAL News 8 at 5 starts now.
New developments tonight in that deadly shooting yesterday in Steelton. A Dauphin County school district is remembering their former student, Kenyatta Henry, identified as the victim. Their football team holding practice despite classes being canceled for the week in honor of him. And this all comes as police say the suspect is still wanted and is considered to be armed and dangerous. Welcome to News 8 at 5. I'm Lori Burkholder.
And I'm Jerry Gish. News 8's AJ Sisson is at War Veterans Memorial Field in Steelton. And AJ, you spoke with people who were close with one of the victims.
And Lori and Jerry, every story that I've heard so far has been nothing short of amazing. Kenyatta Henry, who everybody referred to him as Yatta. He loved his friends. He loved his family. And I spoke with his cousin, Daquan McCraw, who goes by DQ. He says that he refers to him more as an older brother than he does as his cousin, saying Yatta was a kind, caring soul.
Those memories will never be forgotten. I always remember those snow days and fighting, and it was all great. It'll be missed for sure.
Yatta played at Steelton High Spire between 2015 and 2017, according to the school district, playing on a team that went to the state semifinals. DQ saying he wasn't just a player on the team, Yatta was the heart of the team. Through Football is where the district's athletic coordinator, Leanne Thornbecky, met Yatta. She says that whenever she would see him, Yatta would run up to her car and jump through a window to greet her with a big hug.
I just want people to know he was such an incredible young man. He was 26, but to me, he was still that kid that I met 10 years ago when he was 16 years old, I mean, come on, he just jumped through my car window last week. That's who Yatta was and is. And we just want everybody to understand, he left a family that loved him and loves him beyond measure.
And every story you hear is just that message reiterating that Yatta was such a kind soul, and we're honored to be able to share his story. Now, the school district is canceling classes through next Tuesday. That's when they'll start up classes again after the Monday on holiday, but the football team here, they're honoring Yatta for the rest of the week. Every practice, every film session, and their game on Sunday against Camp Hill, or on Friday, against Camp Hill. That game is dedicated to Yatta as well. But also tonight at 6, Yatta's family is holding a memorial. We will have coverage for that tonight on News 8. In Steelton, AJ Sisson, News 8.
AJ, thank you. And we're also learning more about the suspected shooter, Quadir Rameau. We found court documents that show Rameau pled guilty to burglary in Susquehanna Township in November of last year. Rameau also pled guilty to fleeing or attempting to elude an officer in Cumberland County in October of 2024. Steelton police have a warrant for his arrest for charges of murder in the first degree, attempted murder, aggravated assault, and possession of a firearm.
We are following breaking news in Lancaster City, where police responded to a shooting this afternoon. Sarah Metz joins us live near West Strawberry Street with what we know right now. Sarah?
Lori, one person was shot and rushed to the hospital this afternoon. Now, police say the shooting itself, it happened right behind me on West Strawberry Street where Fremont hits it. But when we arrived, which was just minutes after police, we actually saw the victim here, down by Colton Park. This is a picture of him getting loaded into the back of an ambulance. Police wouldn't say how old he is, but from what I saw, he did appear young and he had blood coming from his face area. Now, one of his friends actually just told me that he is expected to be okay. Now, just as quick as police arrived after this call came in and put out that crime scene tape, they left. This was by far the quickest scene I have ever been to. Officers were focusing on this portion of the sidewalk area of Strawberry Street where that shooting happened, putting up cones and taking pictures of whatever they were able to locate on the ground. Police have not said anything about the alleged shooter. However, they are asking anyone with information to give them a call. In Lancaster, Sarah Metz, WGAL News 8.
It's 100 days and the Senate Republicans are shutting this state government down.
Divided does not mean dysfunctional. It does not have to be dysfunctional.
Pennsylvania House and Senate Democrats pointed the finger at Senate Republicans today for why the state's budget impasse has dragged on for 100 days.
And your side political reporter Tom Lehman is live at the state capitol, where the House is getting ready to make another attempt at passing a spending plan. Tom.
Well, Jerry, the reality is a lot of rhetoric being thrown around in a week when we really haven't seen any action on a budget, even with both chambers in session this week, and a lot of blame being thrown around as lawmakers on the House side prepare to pass a $50.25 billion spending plan. Again, 100 days overdue at this point. State dollars not going out to counties, schools, nonprofits, and other entities that rely on that funding. Earlier today, House Democrats held a news conference essentially saying that they believe they're no longer negotiating in good faith with Senate Republicans. They accused Senate Republicans of stalling the budget to hurt Governor Josh Shapiro's political ambitions and potential re-election. House Democratic leadership said that at this point, they believe that there are not enough Republican votes to pass a Republican budget on that particular side of the building. They say that it's high time House Democrats and Senate Republicans compromise.
We know that that is a divided caucus, but if you can't tell your 102 realities, if you can't tell the public we're not going to get everything we want and we have to compromise, then you shouldn't be in leadership, and you damn well shouldn't lead a caucus.
The rhetoric of today has taken this budgetary process, as cumbersome and as difficult as it's been, steps backward.
You heard there from Senate Majority Leader Joe Pittman on the tail end of that soundbite. Senate Republicans at their own news conference today pushing back on the assertions from House Democrats, saying they simply are not accurate. But what they also said is that House Democrats are still overspending in their budget proposal. And at this point, they say that the state is risking a long-term structural deficit that could result in tax hikes for every Pennsylvanian in the coming years, unless House Democrats can agree on a better spending plan. A lot of developments happening here today. We're going to continue to follow the latest on this. But for now, here at the state capitol, Tom Lehman, WGAL News 8.